Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a brand new episode of Boss Babes. I am so excited to be back. I just got back from an amazing vacation in South Carolina. I spent 6 or 7 days at Myrtle Beach. That's why I have this nice tan right now. But I am so happy to be back with all of you guys, amazing Boss Babes tribe fans. Welcome back. And before we get into our special guest, we have a special announcement from one of our favorite sponsors from Bet Online. Sports keep coming back. So does your chance to bet on them with our exclusive wagering partner, betonline.ag. Major League Baseball has finally started this summer and is in full swing. There's no shortage of ways to get in on all the action. BetOnline has all the odds, futures, and props for you to bet on. And as sports start to return, as we all know, BetOnline has sat down with Eddie George from the NFL, Robert Ory, 7-time NBA champ, and Harold Reynolds from Major League Baseball to get their opinions on what it will be like playing without fans and what they have called the fandemic. Visit betonline.ag. Guys, that's betonline.ag, betonline.ag today to check out all the odds and up-to-date sports news. Don't forget to sign up and take advantage of all the welcome back to sports bonuses. Bet Online, your online wagering experts. All right, guys. So again, check them out. If you guys are watching sports, of course, all of the major sports are back. We're right now in the playoffs for the NHL. Basketball, of course. I can't wait to see what happens with the Celtics. The Bruins are obviously kicking butt right now, which I'm excited about. Baseball is back. Red Sox aren't really doing that great this season, which I'm kind of bummed out about, but what can you do? You can't be great every year, and it is what it is. It's been an odd season for everybody, but again, check out, please, betonline.ag. And without further ado, I'm just going to hop right on over to our girl. We have Noelle Lambert. She is absolutely amazing. She is a Paralympic athlete, and I am so amped up to have her. How are you, Noelle?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. This sounds awesome. I'm very excited.
How are you doing? Before we even get into who you are and what you're all about, how was your summer?
I mean, with the pandemic and everything, it's kind of iffy, but I mean, I've just been taking the most of it. I'm still training, so I'm grateful I'm able to go to a track every day still, but my dad has a boat, so we always go up to Lake Winnipesaukee. We do that. I mean, luckily some of the beaches have been open in Massachusetts, so I've been trying to do that. I mean, I'm trying to just live my life, but at the same time trying to stay safe. But I mean, it's been a very iffy summer, but at the same time, I'm complaining about it, but at the same time, I'm not complaining about it. It's just it makes you appreciate the things that you had before, and it makes you think, oh wow, maybe I should appreciate it when everything comes back. But yeah, I'm doing great.
Have you taken any fun vacations yet this summer? I know you mentioned going on the boat with your dad and your family. Have you gone anywhere special?
Yeah, so actually in June, I went to Florida with my mom just for a week. We stayed at her friend's condo. So we were just getting away from the craziness. I mean, it was when nothing was really open here. So we just kind of wanted to get away, get in the warmer weather. And because it wasn't, I mean, it was still warm here, but it wasn't like Florida weather warm. So we were just, it was very relaxing. We were literally the only ones at the pool every single day. We were the only ones at the beach. So it was great. So that was a nice getaway when everything was, I feel, at the craziest point, but it was definitely nice.
Well, it sounds like you have been enjoying your summer so far. And you guys right now are listening to Noelle Lambert. She's a Paralympic athlete. She absolutely dominated sports in college. So we are going to be touching upon her amazing athletic career thus far. She is still very young and has a long way to go with her athletic career. And let's just jump right into it. We know that you are from New Hampshire. You grew up right in Londonderry. So right in New England. So you must have been a Boston sports fan. If not, who are some of your favorite sports teams growing up as a kid? And what was it like growing up in Londonderry, New Hampshire?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge sports fan. Growing up, I was a huge Celtics fan. I was obsessed with the 2008 NBA championship team. I would go to a lot of games. I would watch every single game. Then I started getting into watching the Patriots. I mean, I loved watching the Patriots. I have 3 older brothers, so sports is always a huge part of our household. And I grew up playing 3 sports myself. I played soccer, basketball, and lacrosse. So that was kind of how I connected with my brothers. I mean, they still wanted to always push me around and wanted to pick on me and that kind of thing. But I always wanted to be on their teams. I always went to all their games and everything like that. So growing up was definitely fun. Londonderry, it was home of the apple orchards and like all the amazing apples and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I had a great childhood. Grew up with my parents in Londonderry. I mean, it was awesome. Definitely had a great experience, a Division I scholarship to play lacrosse. So everything worked out. And I mean, I had a great time. I mean, sports was always my life in high school. I never went through a long period of time where I wasn't being active in some sort of way. So that was definitely the highest moment, was just because I was playing sports.
It sounds like obviously sports are a big part of your life, and they still are currently. Growing up with your brothers as a young woman, were you kind of like pushed around a little bit? Were they tough with you? What kind of games did you guys play as kids? Did you like wrestle each other or play capture the flag, which is what I love to do with my siblings and my friends when I was a kid? Paint that picture of what it was like as a kid growing up in Londonderry with your three brothers and your friends.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always wanted to hang out with them and their friends. I mean, in the neighborhood, they always played like the manhunt with the whole neighborhood, and like you said, capture the flag. We did play that. The type of relationship I had with them growing up, I was a pain in the butt, and I wanted to be the princess of the house. I wanted to be the boss of the house. So nobody ever let me have that. But we always were tough on each other. Every time where they were fighting or wrestling, like I wanted to get in on it. So, I mean, my mom always wanted a girl. So after having three boys, she tried one more time and then she got me. But then I was more of a tomboy. Like I love the sports. I love that kind of stuff. Didn't really get into liking the girly stuff until probably college. And actually graduating outside of college, I've become a lot more girly. But so growing up, she would always want me to wear dresses. She would always want to do my hair like French braid. And then I would always be like, I want to go outside, like play with my brothers and that kind of thing. So I was very close with all of them, but we had that fighting relationship where just bickering back and forth constantly. But I mean, it was great. I have no complaints.
It sounds like you had a great childhood. I love that your mom really wanted a girl and she ended up having one. And then she ends up finding out that you're sort of like that tomboy.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting story. Same thing sort of happened with me when I was a child. I come from a family of three. I'm the oldest. I have a brother and a sister. My dad wanted a boy for his first kid.
Oh, okay.
So when my mom found out that she was having a girl, my dad was kind of bummed out. It was one of those situations like, oh no, what do I do? I want my kid to play sports. But then like you, I ended up being sort of like a crazy tomboy where rocking the sports bras and grabbing the cleats and being outdoor and getting all bloody and muddy and that fun thing. So I think there's some good in being a tomboy and being a girly girl, like a mix of both.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that your mom was able to have the three boys and then also have you. That's very exciting. And then speaking about your brothers and family, what were some of your favorite holiday traditions as a kid and or currently now?
We would actually go on cruises with a bunch of other different families. It was my oldest brother, all of his friends, and my parents became really good friends with their parents. So we would always have these crazy cruises. There was about 35 of us. I mean, we would go to Bermuda. We went to all around the Caribbean. That was always such a fun time. For high school, every single spring break in April, we would always go to Orange Lake in Orlando, Florida. Like that was, my parents have a timeshare there, so we would always go there. So we always went to Universal and that kind of thing. I mean, it was great. Just having that atmosphere, going on family vacations, that was awesome. Now, since growing up, it's kind of like me and my mom exclude everybody else in the family, and me and her just go on all these different types of trips. We've been to Aruba, Cayman Islands. We went to Florida. Like we like to go places. We went to Paris last summer. So, and we just leave everybody home, and we tell them that they need to watch over the dog now, and they can't come with us. So it's we've kind of made our own tradition. I love having that relationship with my mom. I mean, she's like my best friend. She's been there through thick and thin with everything. I mean, all my family members have, but she's definitely just been there. I mean, like I couldn't even imagine. And we do bicker all the time, but it's just because we're literally each other's best friends and we're with each other all the time. So we have that relationship. Definitely wouldn't be where I am without her.
That's amazing. It sounds like you have a great relationship with your mom as well as your brothers and your dad, of course, because we lightly spoke about you going on the boat together as a family. What were some of your favorite holiday traditions? I don't know if you guys made like turkey for Thanksgiving, or what did you like to dress up for as Halloween? Did your brothers play any tricks on you during Halloween or the holidays?
Yeah, so I always wanted to go trick-or-treating with them, but all my brothers, but they would always want to go with their friends and stuff. But I mean, Christmas, we would always have the family over. we always had the big family and Thanksgiving. So the tradition with our family is everybody's coming to our house. So it's always great. It's amazing. I mean, Halloween costumes, I wasn't really that creative until actually my amputation. Then I got really, really creative every single year. But I mean, it was always every single year I was just hanging out with my friends, doing that kind of thing for Halloween, especially in high school, just being around that atmosphere, being around my friend group. I mean, that was always a great time. But yeah, all my brothers, they always had their own groups and own plans and stuff, which I understood. But I was definitely that person. Like, oh no, well, my oldest brother, when he was a senior in high school, he would like to have a lot of his friends over, and I was still in middle school, and I would be wanting to go downstairs and hanging out with them. All of his friends that were girls, like I wanted to be friends with them and everything. But yeah, I mean, everything worked out at the end. But I've definitely had some funny Halloween costumes since my amputation. We can get into that afterwards, but I've been very creative.
Now listening to her talk all about growing up in New Hampshire with her brothers, with her mom and dad, and how close, tight-knit they were. They love sports and how they continue to keep sports very close within their family. So let's just hop right into the fact that you actually recently graduated from UMass Lowell in 2019, and you were a D1 lacrosse athlete. So how was that whole experience going to college fairly close to where you grew up, right in Massachusetts, and playing a D1 sport?
It was like I was going in immediately with 30 sisters, in that just kind of that family bond. Grateful for that. I mean, going into it, playing lacrosse and having that be like my one, other than school, my main priority. We're doing that mostly throughout the week. I mean, it's like you're going to college and you're doing a job and you're playing a sport. It was kind of just, it teaches you all these different lessons. I mean, I will never be late ever again just because we had a 15-minute rule and everyone showed up 30 minutes early. I mean, the type of friendships and bonds that I made with all my teammates and just a lot of other people that I met in college who I'm still very close with today and consider them my best friends. I mean, it was amazing to have that experience. I loved it just because literally every single day I had practice, every single day or every single weekend in the fall, we had tournaments and stuff like that. But whenever it came to the actual season in the spring, it was always such a fun time. I mean, we were a new Division I program, so I was part of that process of building the team. My freshman year was actually our second year as a Division I program. So just being a part of that and just building that and building the program to where it is today, I mean, such an amazing experience. I was so grateful to be a part of it. I mean, all the lessons that I learned, I mean, the relationships I made with my coaches, I still carry those on, continuing now, and I'm grateful for that, my whole experience. And I always tell a lot of the people who I give talks to in high school and middle school, I'm like, if you have the chance or the opportunity to play a sport in college, 100% do it, just because you learn all these different life skills. You come in with a family immediately, so you're not going in freshman year and like trying to make all different new friends and everything. You're already into a family and you're already into that whole system. So that was just amazing. I was definitely very sad to graduate and everything like that, but I was also pretty ready to just try something new. I loved lacrosse. I still coach lacrosse. I love to be a part of it. But just playing lacrosse for that long, for 4 years, every single day, I mean, I just needed a little break. But I mean, it's definitely the best experience I had, my college experience. I'm so grateful for it, just because of all the relationships I made with all the different types of people.
What made you choose lacrosse out of all the sports? I know we discussed a little bit earlier that you were pretty fond of not only lacrosse, but basketball. And I believe you played a little bit of soccer as well. So what made you ultimately decide to gravitate towards lacrosse in college? Did you dominate more in that sport, or did you choose that one for any particular reason? What was the reasoning behind choosing that sport in college?
Yeah, I felt as I dominated more in that sport. I mean, growing up, soccer was my main sport. I didn't start playing lacrosse until like 8th grade in middle school. So I always thought that I would go to college for either soccer or basketball. But then when I started playing lacrosse, I mean, I started doing the travel team and everything, and just getting that experience. I just felt I had more of an opportunity to play Division I. So that was definitely one of the main reasons why I stuck with that. But I mean, going from playing 3 sports and soccer and basketball all my life to just going to one sport, it was definitely tough my freshman year. I missed it so much. I mean, I loved basketball. I was two-time state champion in Londonderry my junior and senior year. I mean, being a part of that was amazing. Soccer, I was just growing up. I mean, I just kind of gravitated more towards lacrosse, and I took lacrosse so much more seriously. I mean, I still was very serious playing high school, but I just had more of a great time, like enjoyed it, and just lacrosse, I was like, all right, I'm getting to business. I want to play Division I lacrosse. So every single day in practice, I was trying to get better and that kind of thing. Soccer and basketball, I mean, my coaches knew that I wasn't as serious with playing that in college, but I mean, I still was definitely, I was a big competitor. That was what made me so successful in high school and playing varsity in all three sports. But I mean, it was definitely something that I missed going into college. I missed soccer so much. Basketball, I miss. The only reason why I was good at basketball is because of defense. I mean, offense, like every other year I was good, like shooting the ball, but I mean, I loved it. I still love it to this day. I still try to play basketball. I haven't played soccer in so long, but definitely miss those sports.
Well, it sounds like you absolutely crushed it in lacrosse, and we were going to touch upon that a little bit more after we discuss your accident, because I do know that at one point we actually ended up playing with one leg, I believe, which is so amazing. We will touch upon that later on in our discussion. But before we get into that, I want to know, who are some of your idols growing up as a kid, whether it be musicians or any specific athletes that you looked up to? I know we kind of already discussed that you like to watch the Patriots and whatnot, but who were some of your idols as a kid, or who do you kind of idolize now as a essentially professional athlete?
I mean now I respect and I'm so into all different sports. I mean, Patriots, always, I'm so into that. I'm always like following that. Bruins, Celtics. But growing up, I mean, I was such a diehard Celtics fan. I mean, Rajon Rondo was my favorite player, and just in that whole time period that he was on the Celtics. Kevin Garnett, I loved him. I loved his mindset. It was more basketball. When I started watching football, then it was Gronkowski, it was Edelman, it was Welker, Randy Moss, Tom Brady, obviously. Tom Brady, I mean, was always a big part of my family. Everyone loves him. Yeah, I mean, my idols were always athletes. I didn't get into liking like all these different types of music and everything until probably college, just because I got out of my comfort zone and stuff like that. But growing up, it was always sports in my life. That was like my reason for existence. I loved watching sports, loved playing sports, but I would definitely say the Celtics team, I mean, growing up, I mean, I could tell, like, I remember everybody on that 2008 championship team. It was so crazy to think about. I mean, Ray Allen and all of them, that whole thing when the big three happened, I thought that was awesome. But when everybody left, then I kind of gravitated more towards watching football with my dad. I mean, every Sunday I would always watch the football games with him. And then I wasn't really watching the Celtics as much until probably like 5 years ago. That's when I started picking it up and watching them again. But maybe that's a little bit of a bandwagon just because that's when they started getting better. But I mean, I didn't even start liking watching the Bruins until college either, just because watching hockey is so stressful. It's the most stressful thing ever. I mean, I can only watch it during the playoffs because I'll have a heart attack. Obviously, and then I'm the same way with baseball too. I can only watch it in the playoffs. It's the nerve-wracking and everything. It's too much for me.
Have you been keeping up with the Bruins playoffs currently at all this season?
Oh yeah. I've been watching every game. They played very well last night, so we'll see. I'm definitely nervous for the Celtics playing Toronto, but it'll be a good test.
And I'm looking forward to see what happens with the Celtics. Fingers crossed for both them and the Boston Bruins. But I love that some of your idols happen to be some of the top name Boston athletes that are both currently still playing or that have been here and are either retired or play for other teams. Wink, wink. Tom Brady, pretty bummed out.
Broke my heart, but it's okay.
He broke all of our hearts a little bit. Well, you guys right now are listening to Noelle Lambert. She's from Londonderry, New Hampshire. She's absolutely incredible. We are talking all about her athletic career. Please stay tuned. We're going to have a quick little update from one of our great friends over at Green Team Junk Removal. Here's their phone number right here. I absolutely love Green Team Junk Removal because if you guys have any junk laying around, whether that be at your house or your business or at a school, give them a call at 508-361-0519. Again, guys, that's 508-361-0519. Again, they are called the Green Team Junk Removal. What I love about this whole company is that they are family owned. They show up right to your house. They will collect all of those items that you don't need anymore. They will eco-friendly dispose of those items and either get rid of them completely, or sometimes they take those items and they will donate them to a bunch of different various charities around the area. So please give Green Team Junk Removal a call at 508-361-0519. And the owner, Fred Collin, is so friendly and so amazing. And they are currently following all the COVID protocols, so they will keep you healthy and safe as well. So we're going to jump right back with Noelle Lambert. She has been absolutely crushing this interview chat so far. You guys are now listening to Brittany Baldy. Obviously, I'm your host here at the Boss Babes. Please subscribe to us on Spotify and iTunes. We're going to jump into something that isn't as fun right now, but I know that you have triumphed a lot from this whole situation. So back in 2016, you had a moped accident, and I want people to hear what happened through your eyes. So back in 2016, Noelle experienced a tragic accident, which actually led to her losing one of her legs. We're going to have her discuss that whole situation and how ultimately it's landing her in a great position right now, because she is able to help out a lot of kids with prosthetic legs and teaching adults and mentoring them and also becoming a Paralympic athlete. So jump right into the 2016 accident.
Just coming off my freshman year at UMass Lowell. It was the summer right before my sophomore season. And my freshman year coming off, I was the leading point scorer on the team. I started every single game. I mean, I was very excited for my future. And then I went back for summer break, and I ended up going to Martha's Vineyard with a couple of my friends, one of my teammates, and that I was just riding a moped one day. Me and my teammate, she was on the back with me. And I mean, it was my first time driving a moped, had no idea how to drive it. I had no idea how to ride the thing. I mean, it was my first experience with it. And I ended up sideswiping a dump truck coming at me. And that kind of part was just kind of hazy, and I don't really remember it. But what I do remember is looking down right after I hit the dump truck and lifting my leg up, and my leg was gone. My leg was severed on the scene. I was completely conscious. The guy driving behind me stopped his car, ran over, took his shirt off, created a tourniquet, which saved my life, and I'm so grateful for him. But I just remember thinking the first thing that came into my head was lacrosse, and it was sports, just because, like we talked about, sports was always a huge part of my life. It was definitely a big reason why I'd gone to such a great college. I really thought my life was over. I thought that I was never going to be able to play again, never going to be able to run again, or never even be able to walk again. And I mean, the whole time, I was just laying there, and then I was telling people, I was like, someone needs to call my parents, someone needs to call my mom. I was lucid enough to give the phone number, and this woman started talking to my mom saying, like, you need to get to Martha's Vineyard. I don't think your daughter's going to make it. And I thought I was fine. I didn't think I was dying. So I actually took the phone. I said, can I have the phone, please? I took the phone and I just said, Mom, I lost my leg. I'm fine. I have to go. And then I just gave the phone back. And then I was med flighted over to BMC in Boston, and I went into surgery, and I woke up the next day, and the first person to come and see me was my lacrosse coach. And I mean, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, am I still on the team? Like, what's going to happen? She quickly reassured me that my position on the team was going nowhere, that my scholarship wasn't going to be taken away. So just kind of hearing that, it kind of put my mind at ease. I was actually very lucky, just because that was the only thing that was wrong with me. I didn't have a scratch on my body other than my amputation. And I mean, you hear about all these tragic accidents, and people are in the hospital for months and months and months. So I was just lucky in that aspect, just because I knew I wasn't going to be there that long. I was only in the hospital for 4 days, and then I was transported over to Spalding Rehab, and I was only there for a week. So everything went by really quickly. But I mean, the support that I received, and all my family members, friends, random strangers, I mean, it was awesome. I never had time to feel sorry for myself laying in bed, just because I had so many people coming to visit. My lacrosse team was sneaking in at like 11 o'clock at night when there was no visiting hours. Like, I had 3 of my best friends waiting for me, just trying to get me to wake up so I could come and visit them. And my nurses were awesome letting that happen. And then I was actually lucky enough to have a few of the Boston Marathon survivors come and visit me, like Roseann Sdoia, Celeste Corcoran, and Catherine McWaters. So just seeing all the things that they've gone through and how they overcame it. I mean, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I really can't feel sorry for myself. Looking at them, seeing everything that they've overcome, I just need to hear everything that they're saying, because they were reassuring me that my life wasn't going to be over, that I was going to be able to do everything that I wanted to be able to do. I mean, Roseann actually sent me a picture of all of her different types of legs, saying this is what you're going to need probably, and that kind of thing. She actually printed out a list of different prosthetic companies, because picking a prosthetic company is like picking a college, and just her opinions on it and everything like that. So just having that support, I mean, I was so grateful for that. And that just helped me not go through a depression and not go through any of the tough times. I mean, and my family members, my mom, therapist throughout it all. I mean, she was the person that I opened up to about everything, but it felt like it was a year, but it was literally 2 weeks. It was 2 or 3 weeks out of my life that just, I mean, it changed my life forever. And I mean, when I think back on that day, I really don't think of it as a negative ever. I honestly view it as a positive, just because, I mean, we can get into how it changed me and how it matured me and how it changed the type of athlete I was and everything like that. My whole experience, I was very lucky and fortunate to have all the support that I received. I mean, Facebook was blowing up. I mean, Instagram, everything was blowing up. So many people reaching out. I mean, it was amazing.
Speaking of Roseann Sdoia, I love that you kind of walked us through all of the steps of those emotions. It sounds like you were very strong during the whole situation. I feel like if I just lost my leg, I'd be on the ground crying, bawling my eyes out, probably passed out, because I literally can't even get my blood drawn without getting sick and woozy. So literally, like, I give you all the credit in the world for being able to literally pick up the phone. You're like, Mom, I'm fine. I lost my leg. Like, come to the hospital. Like, girl, you are one badass chick.
No, but let me tell you, like, if someone told me this before my accident, I'm the same way. I'm honest. I was the same way. I hated getting needles, anything with needles. I hated it. You never realize how tough you are in the situation. But on the other hand, I was in shock. I didn't feel anything. I mean, it was crazy. When I was in the helicopters, when I started feeling everything, and I was being such a little pain in the ass, like telling the helicopter, the people, the EMTs in the helicopter, to give me a headset, like I'm trying to talk to them and stuff. I mean, I felt terrible because I was just like freaking out. But yeah, I mean, but I was just like you. You never know what your body can handle or what you can handle until you go through something like that. But I mean, my mom, on the other hand, I mean, receiving that phone call, like her and my dad jumping in the car and stuff, like, just the thing that, like, the mental toughness that they must have. I mean, receiving that phone call, I mean, that's definitely the most traumatic thing that you never want to get. You never want to get a phone call like that. But I mean, once they found out that I was stable, they called them saying that I was stable and I was being med flighted. They both reassured themselves, okay, she's alive. That's all. That's the only thing that matters. So that was kind of my mindset in the hospital too. I mean, I was just thinking, you know what? After a couple of days, I was like, I really don't want this to define my life. I don't want it to define the person I want to become. I want to get through this. And I mean, I knew it was going to be hard, but I never knew. I didn't know how hard it was going to be. I honestly didn't.
And I know you already kind of discussed her, and I absolutely love Roseann Sdoia. She was a past guest on the BosBabes show. We had her live in studio way back when we could actually have people live in studio. She is absolutely incredible, and I know she does a lot, giving back and mentoring and teaching others, sort of like you are starting to do now. So I want to ask you, what are the emotions like for you having somebody like Roseann be one of your backbones, be one of your support systems, be one of your mentors from day one?
That whole Boston Marathon survivor community, they helped me out so much. I mean, so many of them. And because of Roseann, I got to meet all these different types of people, like Heather Abbott, who has her own nonprofit organization, and that foundation actually donated a waterproof prosthetic to me. So having Roseann and having those types of mentors in my life, it really just makes me want to strive to be them. I mean, seeing all the things that they've accomplished, gone through, I mean, I just look up to them so much. I mean, Heather Abbott receiving a waterproof prosthetic from her foundation was amazing. And then actually receiving that waterproof prosthetic, it just brought me in. So I was able to meet a lot of the Boston Marathon survivors. In 2017, actually, after I played my first game with a prosthetic, I actually went to one of the Red Sox games that they were honoring all the Boston Marathon survivors. So I got to meet mostly all of them, and I got to throw out the first pitch and be on the field with all of them. So having that honor and be on the field with them, I mean, it was truly amazing. But having Roseann, I mean, Roseann and my mom are very close. I'm very close with Roseann. We always try to get dinner every now and then, but it's just great to have somebody like that. And that's what I want to be to other people. And that's what kind of inspired me to give back and want to help others and that kind of thing. But you hear all the amazing stories that people go through, and it just makes you want to do better, and it makes you want to be a better person.
And Roseann is amazing. I know she's going to watch this interview at some point because I texted her literally right before I jumped on here with you. I'm like, Roseann, thank you for putting me in contact with Noelle, chatting with her tonight. So Roseann, whenever you do watch this, we both love you. We think you are an incredible mentor to a lot of people. But let's just jump right into the fact that not only did you triumph and you are growing from the whole situation of losing your leg back in 2016, you are a U.S. National Paralympic track and field member. What is that experience like? I know you train very often in Boston, and I know that you were getting ready to possibly leave for Tokyo. Obviously, COVID changed that situation for you, but what is the training like? What exactly does it mean to be a Paralympic athlete?
Yeah, so it's actually crazy because today is 1 year, exactly 1 year. We were supposed to be in Tokyo, and we're supposed to be competing, and they're supposed to be starting today. So it's actually pretty cool that we did this interview because the U.S. Paralympic track and field team all over Instagram saying 1 more year to go, 1 more year to go. But so how I kind of got into it, after I played my first game lacrosse, and after coming back from that, someone reached out to me just saying, have you ever thought about doing track and field? And I hated running. Let me tell you, I hated it. I didn't like it at all. But I had in the back of my head that I definitely wanted to try it. And they just said, okay, well, whenever you're ready when you graduate or whenever you want to start competing, like, let me know. And then I actually did this kids camp in 2017, and it's called Nubbability. And then I met this Paralympian there. Her name's Famita Ayambeku. She lives in Boston, in the Boston area. She's a below knee amputee, and she went to the 2016 Paralympics running the 100 and 200 meters. So I met her, made that connection, said I wanted to eventually try to do this. And so I had her in my back pocket. And then when I graduated in 2019, I just decided I was going to try it. And if I wasn't good at it, then at least I knew I tried. So the day I was done with lacrosse, the next day I bought a pair of blocks, went to the track, went with my trainer, and we both had no idea what we were doing. I mean, getting in the blocks, block starts, no idea what I was doing. I never did track and field growing up. Like I said, I hated running, any types of run tests, hated it. But I was a competitor. I loved the competition. So every single day I went to the track. I mean, I just started working on it. And then I signed myself up for this track meet in Arizona called the Desert Challenge Games. And I had 1 month to train for it. And so I was just every single day getting better. And then so when it was actually approaching and everything like that, I went to Arizona. I found out that the entire U.S. Paralympic track and field team was going to be there. All of the head coaches were going to be there. And then I was going to compete against the national champion, Scout Bassett, who I had looked up to. I knew her story. I mean, she's such a badass. She's a Nike athlete. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I'm competing against a national champion. I'm going to get my butt kicked. Like, it's not going to be a good thing. But at the same time, I was like, I can't, this is such an amazing experience. I need to embrace it. I mean, being able to compete against the best in the US, I mean, I need to do well. Like, I need to prepare for this. And then I was kind of talking to all the US coaches, introducing myself, and I was just known as the lacrosse girl. They knew I played lacrosse. They didn't know how good I was going to be. And the night before, my mom came with me, and I was just talking back and forth with my mom, and I was just thinking, like, I was just spitting out things. I was like, hey, Mom, like, what if I actually won? Like, what if I beat her? And she looked at me, and she just set me straight. She's like, Noelle, there's no way you're going to win. She's been doing this for like 8 or 10 years. She's a national champion. Just don't get cocky. Just go out there, appreciate it, and do the best you can. But like, I'm that type of person. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm like, okay, I got to prove you wrong. So the next day, I had never been so nervous in my entire life. I mean, growing up, I always done team sports, never did individual sports, and how mental it is so crazy. I mean, I was warming up and freaking out on the track. I mean, Scout was right there, and she could see how nervous I was, and she went up to me, like, just trying to calm me down, saying, "You're gonna do great." And I was like, "Yeah, like, it'll be great. You'll be ahead of me. You'll push me to be better. You'll push me to go faster." And then, like, I kind of blacked out. I'm in the blocks. The gun goes off. And then halfway through, I hear this wicked, annoying voice screaming at the top of her lungs. And it was actually my mom, because I was beating her. And I ended up beating her and beating the national champion, which was insane, because
Wow.
I honestly think, like, why I was able to do that was because when I was playing lacrosse, trying to get back out on the field, I mean, I was competing every single day with people with 2 legs, and we were doing run tests, and I never wanted to be the slowest person. My assistant coach would scream at me every time I was in last place. So that competition, I mean, really transitioned over and helped. But let me tell you, I mean, she was not happy. I mean, I could tell, but I still respect her to this day. And I actually made the qualifying times for the national team at that very race, but I needed to get internationally classified, which I just needed to compete out of the country. And so they can put me into a different classification category, like above knee amputee and that kind of thing. So I wasn't officially on the team until a couple months after, because that's when I went to Paris and competed and everything. But it was such an amazing experience. I got to go to Paris, and then that's when I officially qualified to be on the national team in August of 2019. And then a month later, I was selected to compete at the World Championships in Dubai in November. And I mean, that was my first experience going with the USA team. My parents didn't go, like, none of my family members went, just because my mom used up all of her vacation days, and she couldn't really, she didn't want to take that plane ride alone. But yeah, so I went with the team. It was such an amazing experience. But actually, after I competed in Arizona, so Famita actually kind of took me under her wing, and she said, "Yeah, you need to come train with me in Boston. Like, I need to introduce you to my coach." So having her as a mentor and getting to practice with her every single day, I mean, I get my ass kicked because she is such a but it kind of I love it. It puts me in my place. I mean, she's definitely become one of my best friends. I mean, having her as a mentor and introducing me to our coach now, I mean, he's amazing. And I mean, he's been beating the lacrosse out of me. He's been trying to make me into a track athlete. So it's been amazing. But when I was in Dubai, just getting to, compete against the best in the world was the best experience ever. And I actually placed 4th in the world, and I set a new U.S. record. So, I mean, wow. I was definitely making the right steps, and it was definitely such an experience. I mean, going there, representing the USA, competing against the people that I'd been looking up to for a couple of years. Like, I was Googling all of them, watching them race and everything, and then being able to actually race alongside them. It was such an amazing and cool experience. I was making all the right steps to go to Tokyo, but then COVID happened, and you know what? I mean, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I was only doing track. I had only been doing it for a year, and I was still very new. I'd only competed about five or six times. I mean, I still need to get all that experience under my belt. So having this whole other year to get better and train, I mean, it's definitely been a blessing in disguise. And it's crazy to think that this is where my life has taken me. But I mean, I just take it every single day I go to practice. I mean, I have a great time with Famita. We always joke around. We always have a great time. But just the different things that I've learned along the way, it's been amazing. And now I actually don't hate running, and not as bad. I still hate long distance running. I only run the 100-meter. Actually, today, my coach actually made us do 400s. So it was not a fun day today, but I both me and Famita and I passed out. Like, we were just done after one of them, but it was great. This whole experience, I mean, it's truly been amazing. Getting to meet all the different types of people I've been able to meet, going to a Paralympic track and field event, and just getting to watch all the different events with people with the different disabilities. I mean, it is amazing what you see, and like all the people, everything that, all the disabilities that you have when they're competing, you can't even tell that they have a disability. It's insane. I always say my favorite race to watch is the 100-meter, and the people who are 100% blind, and they have somebody running alongside them, tethered to them. And it is just amazing to watch. I mean, it just makes you feel, it makes me feel at home. I mean, it makes me feel grateful to be in that position, to get to meet all these different people. I honestly like watching it I like watching that more than I like watching sports now. It's crazy. Like I'm such a track athlete and like I watch it on TV now. It's crazy. It's crazy how much I've changed.
I love hearing your story and how much you've grown and how you've essentially hated running. You enjoy running. You like watching the sport. You love being involved with the sport. It's almost like, I know this, it's cliche, but they say everything happens for a reason. And it seems like you were destined to become this professional athlete and mentor and give back to others. And I know we've been speaking a lot about the Paralympics and the fact that you almost went to Tokyo. Maybe you'll get to go there next year or the year after, whenever they decide to pick that up again.
Yeah.
What was your rehab experience like? I know we recently talked a little bit about you playing lacrosse with one leg and then jumping into the Paralympics. And I actually read an article on you online before doing this interview, of course. And it said something that part of your rehab was you having to be harnessed to a treadmill to probably, I would assume, learn how to walk properly with your prosthetics and maybe build up strength in your other leg. So maybe you can walk us through those steps. But I really liked one of your quotes inside of the article. You specifically said, "I'm grateful having this happen to me. I now think of it as a positive," which you kind of said earlier. "For the accident, I never put in extra work. It changed my work ethic." So it almost sounds like back in the day, or you still currently are like a natural born athlete. From a child, sounds like you just dominated 24/7. Maybe you didn't really have to try as hard compared to some of the other kids that played. So it almost sounds like you are grateful and thankful that this happened because it's making you work a little bit harder and put in that work ethic. So
I was the type of athlete before my accident. I was the type of athlete that coaches loved and hated at the same time. I mean, I hated putting in extra work. I hated going for runs by myself. I hated practicing. I only loved the game, like going to games, playing in games. I was so competitive. And I mean, I never actually knew this about myself until having the accident happen to me. So when the accident happened to me, I'm just thinking back and like, I mean, it just makes me regret it so much because I could have been that much better. I could have been that much better of an athlete. It could have been that much, put my teammates and my team in a position, that much better position to win. So I knew if I ever wanted to play lacrosse again or be active, I knew if I had that mindset, I was going to fail. 100% was going to fail. So I knew that I needed to change it and I needed to beat it out of me, because if I showed up every single day at practice like I did before the accident, I was going to get nowhere, and I probably would have still have gone nowhere with athletics or anything. So when I got home from the hospital and got home from rehab, I started going to this place, CMC, in Manchester, New Hampshire. It was only about 5 minutes from my house, and I would do that 3 to 4 times a week, while also driving myself back and forth to practice every single day. Rehab in the beginning, because I didn't receive a walking prosthetic until a couple months after, because I needed to wait for everything to heal. But receiving or starting rehab, I mean, the most important thing that we worked on was my core and feeling comfortable, like standing up and getting used to crutches and everything like that. Just getting comfortable with honestly being uncomfortable and that kind of thing. And then when I did receive my walking prosthetic, I kind of had it in my head, okay, I was going to receive my walking prosthetic and I was going to get a running blade and I was going to start practicing immediately. And that's when I kind of figured out the costs and everything of different prosthetics, specialized prosthetics, how insurance companies won't pay for them. And so unless it's your everyday prosthetic. So that kind of set me back a little bit, but also it kind of just got me thinking, okay, well, now I can actually focus on my walking prosthetic, learning how to use it, and basically trying to perfect that, getting so comfortable. Because then I didn't receive my running prosthetic until like 6 months afterwards. It was in April and the season was done. So I knew that I wasn't going to be playing that season. And I actually received that running prosthetic from the Challenge Athletes Foundation. They donated it to me. So when I received that my running prosthetic, that's when I was harnessed in on a treadmill, and I honestly couldn't run for more than 10 seconds at a time because I was so out of shape. The balance and everything was so off. Like it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. I was just stubborn and thought to myself, it's going to be a piece of cake. And let me tell you, like when I went to my prosthetic company and was talking to my prosthetist, who's also above knee amputee, when I told him that I wanted to go back and play Division I lacrosse again, he told me, he was like, Noelle, I don't think that you're going to be able to do it. It's nearly impossible with an above knee amputee because you have a mechanical knee. Like you have a knee that you're not going to be able to cut back and forth on. You're not going to feel stable enough or anything like that. So I was just, whatever he was saying, it was like in one side, out the other. I was like, yeah, I'm still going to try. So when I received my running prosthetic, I mean, that really put me back because I couldn't run it took me about 2 weeks to run without the harness. And it took me 2 weeks to run on the grass and to be able to comfortable enough. So that whole summer, I actually didn't even focus on lacrosse. I honestly just hired a personal trainer and just wanted to get back in shape, just basically try to get comfortable with the running blade. And that's exactly what I did. By the end of the summer, I'd lost 20 pounds. I was starting to get in really great shape. And then I was going back my junior season and I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm ready to try lacrosse. I'm ready to pick up the stick and I'm ready to do this. And so then it was just like a whole nother experience with going through lacrosse and picking up a lacrosse stick, trying to run at the same time. I had a meeting with my coaches telling them, I was just like, I need to be pushed. I need to be treated like everybody else. If you don't push me, if you don't yell at me, I'm not gonna do anything. I need to be screamed at. I need to be held accountable. That's always the type of athlete I've been. I need to be told to do something or I'm not gonna do it. I mean, now it's different. Now I can actually have some self-discipline. I can work out on my own. But back then, like, I needed to be pushed. I needed to be yelled at. I respect those coaches that yell at you, and because I believe if they're not yelling at you, then they don't care. So that's honestly what I told my assistant coach, and that's exactly what I got from her. She literally kicked my ass every single day. Before and after practice, she would literally make me do footwork drills. She would make me do all these different types of things. Like I said, when I was doing that run test and everything, if I was in last place, I'd be getting screamed at. If I was beating anybody else, she would be screaming at them, saying, "This girl with one leg beating you right now." So that's a tough love that I received, and that's the tough love that I needed to succeed. And so, I mean, but that was definitely the hardest part of, like, in my entire life. It was definitely the hardest thing to go through. I mean, every single day I would always think that I was doing it for nothing, that I wasn't getting any better. I mean, my first day of practice probably fell about 30 times. I just got very self-conscious at some points, but it was my teammates making me feel comfortable. It was my teammates pushing me and not treating me someone with a disability and making me be better and that kind of thing. So when I worked my ass off that entire year. I mean, and my head coach actually came up to me right before the season started, and she was like, "Noelle, I'm honestly blown away because I never thought that I was gonna think to myself, okay, I'm comfortable enough to put you in." She kind of had it in her head that she was gonna put me in my senior game, my last game, my senior season, just kind of put me in and everything. And she said, "Noelle, it's your junior season, and I'm thinking about playing you. Like, it's to the point where I'm watching you on the lacrosse field and I can't even tell, like, that you have a prosthetic." And it's honestly because of all the footwork drills that I did, that is just literally, like, in my head. And I mean, all the different lessons that I learned from my assistant coach. So she was 2 years older than me. She played lacrosse at Oregon. She was a badass. She was trying to do the pro women's team, so she was trying to get in shape. So she would just take me along and she would just literally kick my ass every single day. And the lessons that I learned from her, I mean, she was the person that taught me that I can only control the things that I can control. I can't worry about everything else. I can't worry about the outside noise. I need to focus on myself, like, just worrying about the things that I needed to be worrying about. I mean, that whole experience with her, I mean, she was 100% the reason why I was able to return playing lacrosse. In my junior season, I was able to return playing. In my first game back, I was able to score a goal. And I look back on the video and, like, everything, when I look back on it, it's not the fact that I scored that gets me so happy. I mean, it's the reaction that I got from, like, all my teammates. That was honestly the best feeling in the world. And I honestly broke down in tears when everyone cleared the bench, coming in, huddling up with me. I mean, it was truly amazing. The reactions that I got from my coaches, it was just amazing because they were so selfless to make my dreams come true and, like, push me to be better every single day, to take time out of their busy school schedules to do extra drills with me. I mean, it was such an amazing experience. And then when I went back my senior year, it was like my accident never even happened. I practiced every single day, did every single run test, did every single weight room test. And I mean, I didn't start every single game, but I played in a lot of the games. I created a different role for myself. And I knew when I was coming back, I was never going to be that type of player I was before. I wasn't going to be the quarterback of the offense. So I needed to find a different position. And that's exactly what I did. So it was just the whole experience. I mean, it was definitely, that's what honestly changed my life. And it just changed the my whole mental aspect of how I feel about sports. It makes me appreciate it so much more and everything like that. So that's why when I graduated, I was thinking to myself, okay, I just basically learned how to feel so comfortable with my blade, and I don't want to hang it up. So that's why I transitioned over to track. But my prosthetist, the one who told me that he didn't think I was ever going to be able, he came to one of my games and he said, Noelle, I don't even understand how you're doing this right now, because I actually got to the point where I could cut better off my prosthetic leg than I could with my real leg. And it was just amazing just to have that experience. And I mean, to be the first above knee amputee to ever play Division I lacrosse, I mean, it's amazing. But at the same time, I just want people to know, like, it was very important to me to show up to practice every single day with a positive attitude, because I had a lot of my teammates come up to me when I graduated saying, you know what, Noelle, like, I would show up to practice every single day and like I would have a very tough day. Like, I really didn't want to be there. And then I would just look at you smiling, like practicing, and I really I needed to be better because of you. So that's definitely what hit home for me, and that was so important to me. I mean, just being able to show people that you go through tough things, but it doesn't mean that your life is over.
It sounds like you had a lot of positive mentors and a lot of great influences throughout this whole experience, especially throughout your collegiate experience and now being a professional athlete and training for the Paralympics, which I can't wait to see you eventually compete. How costly it is to get a prosthetic. I think I saw it's anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000, depending on what you get and what it's for. So I understand that you received one of your prosthetics from something called Challenge Athletics Foundation. Is that correct?
Yeah. Challenge Athletes Foundation. Yeah, athletes. Yeah. So that's where I received my my running blade.
I think that's amazing that you received that running blade from the Challenge Athletics Foundation. And we want to jump right into the fact that the Boss Babes love talking about charity, giving back, and how professional athletes or professional sports entertainers give back to their community. So with everything that you have gone through thus far, which we've obviously discussed throughout this amazing interview so far, you not only received a prosthetic through a foundation, but you yourself started your own charity foundation to help others be able to get those prosthetics. And that is called the Born to Run Foundation. So can you tell me what exactly is the Born to Run Foundation, who it benefits, where can people either donate or help out at your events? And I know you have an event coming up in mid-September, which we will talk about after, but first, discuss the Born to Run Foundation.
Yeah, so like you said, receiving my running prosthetic from the Challenge Athletes Foundation, and then also receiving my waterproof leg from the Heather Abbott Foundation, seeing the different types of work that they did for other people, I mean, it inspired me so much. And I just knew that this is something that I wanted to be able to do. I wanted to give back. So in 2017, we came up with the idea, me and a lot of my family members, a lot of my my mom's family friends, to start the Born to Run Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that donates specialized prosthetics to younger adults and children who just want to live a fun and fulfilling life and don't have to worry about the costly, don't have to worry about paying for a costly prosthetic. And it can be anywhere from a running blade, waterproof prosthetic. I mean, we've donated artificial arms for a yoga instructor, snowboarding leg, honestly, anything that will make your life fulfilling. Like, that's what our mission, and that's what we want to do to help. So in 2018, we were able to donate our first running blade to a little 3-year-old boy, and seeing him put the running blade on, I mean, it was such an amazing feeling. And I was honestly jealous because he literally put the running blade on and then ran down the hall like he's had his entire life. And so I was like, all right, I was salty because it took me 2 weeks to learn how to run with mine. But it honestly, I mean, it was such a touching moment. And to be able to actually go through all that support and all the help that I received, and be able to finally give back and to finally show people that this is what I want my life to become. I want to base it on helping others. But I mean, my mom, when I was in college, my mom kind of took my place in the foundation just because I was busy with schoolwork and lacrosse and everything. So she took my place and just helping me out with that kind of thing. So having her by my side has been amazing. And then we hired a marketing company. They've been amazing with just getting the word out and everything like that. So We've actually donated 8 different prosthetics now. I mean, we've done water legs, running blades, a couple artificial arms. We're about to make our next one, and it will be an artificial arm. And I mean, it's been amazing to see all the support that we receive. I mean, we're able to do 50-50 raffle games at the Bruins. We've done it 2 times. Hopefully we can do it next year. The Myra Craft New England Patriot Foundation, they donated to it. So having the support system from all my, I received the Heroes Among Us award from the Celtics. I mean, having all my childhood, growing up watching sports and everything, and to incorporate it with the foundation has been truly amazing. But definitely just seeing other people, and every time they receive their leg or receive the different arm prosthetic, I mean, just seeing the reaction and just to be able to say that I helped. And honestly, to me, it's like creating a whole family. It's like creating a bond. And so people can just get any type of help that they need if they have any questions with anybody. It's like joining a whole family. And that's how I kind of take the whole thing. It's like an amputee family, and it's just one after the other. I mean, honestly, due to the pandemic, we were just stuck with not having a couple of our fundraisers, but we were still able to do 2 donations during the pandemic, which was awesome. And so, I mean, just being able to help other people has definitely been the most amazing thing. And it just keeps inspiring me to want to build it to be more and build it to be better. So hopefully in the future. So yeah, we have our annual golf tournament coming up September 21st. It's in Canton, Massachusetts at the Brook Meadow Country Club. If you want to help sponsor it, that's amazing. But if you just want to help follow and give some exposure to the foundation, our mission statement, you can follow us anywhere on the Born to Run Foundation, or you could go on to the website, www.theborntorunfoundation.org. I mean, just help spread the word. I mean, because a lot of people don't realize the cost of prosthetics, because I certainly had no idea. And learning about that and then being able to spread the word and everything is definitely the most important thing.
Very exciting. I can't wait to go to your event. I know my boyfriend and I are planning to go to that fun event. If you guys are interested, again, you just heard Noelle talk about it. It's going to be in Canton, Massachusetts, September 21st at the Brook Meadow Country Club. Looks like it's going to be a fun golf tournament, a fun golf event. Hopefully we get some nice weather. A lot of charity events haven't been going on due to COVID, so I think it's nice that we actually get to attend an event like this and get out and be around people and support others. So again, please check out her foundation, the Born to Run Foundation. Give back in any way that you can. And let's talk about a fun fact. I know you've been crushing it. We found out that you are an amazing athlete. You grew up with 3 brothers in Londonderry. You went to UMass Lowell. You are now a professional athlete training for the Paralympics. And what the heck's this information that Tom Brady signed your leg? Like, that is so freaking cool. You and I were discussing it prior to starting this fun chat, but apparently Tom Brady happened to be at the Sweet Feet for Strikes event last year. I think it was probably like last August, so a year ago this month, I would assume.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, having Tom Brady sign your leg?
Yeah, so it was through Blue Sky Agency and Entertainment Agency. So they invited me because I'm one of their athletes. So I knew that some of the Patriots players were going to be there. A lot of them were going to be there. So you know what? I just said to myself, well, maybe Tom Brady will show up, and maybe I'll be able to get an autograph or something like that. So honestly, showed up. It was an amazing cause. It was for the Boston Medical Center, which was honestly amazing because I went there. So everything was benefiting them, just to be a part of that experience. Getting to meet James White. I mean, he is an awesome guy, such an amazing guy. So getting to meet him and talk to him a little bit was definitely amazing and so cool. And then so I was hanging out in one of the rooms. I was with one of my friends. My mom was in the other room with one of her friends. And then all of a sudden I see Tom Brady come in, and I literally looked at my friend, and my mom had the Sharpie. I was like, go get the Sharpie. I'm going to weasel my way in there somehow. So then I'm walking over, and he's talking to somebody, and there's signs everywhere. Let me tell you, there's signs everywhere saying no autographs. But I was just thinking to myself, I was like, if I can get this, I was like, it needs to happen. So then I went up to James White, and I was just talking to him, and then I was like, so, can I ask you a favor? And he was like, yeah, what's up? I was like, can you get me to meet Tom Brady? And then he just grabs my hand. He's like, yeah, let's go. And then I turned around and I saw a photographer and I grabbed her. I was like, please come, please come. And he was honestly the nicest guy. Oh my God. And I looked at him and it was like seeing a God, like, oh my God, a God. He was so handsome in person, so tall. I'm literally looking at him. I didn't care what he said to me, but he was trying to create conversation with me. James White was like, yeah, she's on the Paralympic track and field team. And then I started to say something. And then Tom was like, oh, like what event do you run? So he was talking to me. And then afterwards, my friend gave me the Sharpie. I was like, can you please sign my leg? And he was saying, of course. James White actually signed it too. I mean, and it was just, oh my, he was such a nice guy. Everyone asked me like, oh, like, what was he like? I was like, he was honestly trying to create conversation with me. And I felt so bad. I was like, I don't care what you say to me. Just sign my leg, please. Like, I really don't care. Like, and then so he signed it. I got awesome pictures. And then the funny thing is, so then I'm walking trying to find my mom because my mom is obsessed with him too. My whole family is. And that was another funny thing. I didn't invite any of my brothers because I didn't really expect it. But I mean, a bunch of the Patriots players were there, like Sony Michel, the McCourty twins, like Kyle Vanoy. A lot of them were there. I'm like, so I went into the other room trying to find my mom. And then I go up to the woman that she was hanging out with. I was like, oh, like, where's my mom? I want to show her something. And then she's like, oh, I think she went to go find Tom Brady because she heard that he was there. So I'm waiting, like 10 minutes goes by and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go find her. So I walk up to her and she was like, Noelle, look, I got a selfie with Tom Brady. And like, she shows me the picture. It's Tom in the background. He's all blurry. Like, you can't even tell it's him. And then I'm like, Mom, I just look down. And then literally she looks down and just looks at me. She's like, I'm gonna kill you. Why didn't you tell me that you were trying to find him? I was like, you were in the other room. Then I got blown up by all my brothers, my dad. They were so mad that they didn't get the invite or anything like that. But I mean, I didn't expect anything like that. But yeah, so I still have it to this day on my leg. My prosthetic company like laminated it. You know what? I mean, having him change teams and everything, I still love him, still wish him nothing but the best. I'm still obsessed with him. I will follow him in Tampa Bay. When he decided which team he was going to, I was like, I'm going to visit one of my friends who lives in Tampa. I'm going to a game. So now I'm going to try to get Cam Newton's signature or something like that. I'm going to try to even the score a little bit, but it's definitely, that was like literally everyone who I came in contact with after, they were like, let me see the signature. Like that was like what I was known for at least 4 months. Like, I kid you not. And it was just, the pictures were just amazing. They're all on my Instagram. Like there's one of him hugging me and like I'm just in his arms, like looking up. Like it was definitely a very fun event. Definitely excited to be a part of it.
I'm gonna have to look on your Instagram and find one of those photos so I can share it on the BosBabes page.
I got a page. So I posted the one of him and me hugging when they lost, but I think it was back in September or something, and the first picture is him actually signing the leg. So it's an awesome picture. It's the photography. The photographer was great. And I literally hounded her. Like, I went up to her. I was like, can I see the pictures? And like, it was such a cool experience.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you are having a great time thus far with all the events. You have an event coming up again September 21st. You've been enjoying your summer so far. Obviously, we're both going to be following Tom Brady, even though he's playing for Tampa Bay now. And some of your future plans. Do you have anything upcoming in the future before we wrap up the show?
I mean, honestly, it's crazy because of COVID. So everything's such a mystery and a lot of question marks. I don't really have any competitions coming up probably this season just because of COVID and everything. I mean, but it's crazy because all these other countries are competing, and we're all sitting here, everybody in the U.S. We're like, all right, we want to compete. Like, what can we do? But it's understandable with everything with COVID. But I mean, I'm honestly just looking to grow the foundation as much as I can. I don't really have anything crazy coming up, so definitely putting all my focus into training and the foundation. That's definitely my main focuses right now.
And before we wrap up, everybody that's listening, you guys know the BosBabes are all about charity, giving back, and of course, Positive Pop. So with Positive Pop, we love to have our sports entertainer or professional athlete give us a positive mantra or some positive pop that gets you through your day. So Noelle, what is your positive pop?
So my positive pop, I honestly go into practice every single day thinking this. Anything you do in life, you just need to figure out what is your why. Why do you feel like it's important to you? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting so much work into it? You just need to be so passionate about things. So if you're going into anything and you just want to do better and you want to get better at something, just figure out what your why is, and that's all you need to do to succeed. And you just got to put in the work, and you can honestly do whatever you set your mind to. I am living proof of that.
That is some excellent positive pop, and you were such a great guest. I can't wait to see you September 21st at your event in Canton, Mass. Where can people keep up with your wild life on social media? Obviously, you're always posting up great photos. I see you like to obviously go on your boat, and you put up some training photos. So where can people find you on social media?
At Noelle Lambert. NOELLELAMBERT. Simple as that. Everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, and then the foundation is at the Born to Run Foundation. You can find it in my bio. But yeah, please follow me so you can keep up with everything that I'm doing. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This has been awesome. Getting to meet you. I talked about this earlier, but I had watched Brittany on The Challenge and Are You the One on MTV. Huge MTV girl, so getting to visit with you was so amazing. Definitely was awesome, and creating this connection, I'm definitely excited for it.
You are amazing. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you in a couple weeks, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Thank you, Noelle.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.